There's a problem in the light heavyweight division right now, guys, and it's frustrating Magomed Ankalaev, and it's evident in his tweets, in Ali's tweets, in Ink's tweets, whatever you want to call it, guys. And I feel like I have to address it because it's almost like aha moment or like I told you so moment for Ankalaev fans now. Before Ankalaev won the belt, chat, they're like, oh, here we go. It's going to be another inactive Dagestani champion or something. Oh, here comes Magomed Ankalaev. He's going to fight once a year. He's going to disappear. Since then, Ankalaev's been doing nothing but proving those people wrong. You know, he beat Pereira, which was already proving people wrong, but he fought him during Ramadan. That was a big part about that win. He beat him during Ramadan. And that's what they think. Okay, Ankalaev's not going to fight in Ramadan. He's scared. That's what the narrative was. But after he beat him during Ramadan, he said his goals were to fight 2 more times in the year. And people scoffed at him. They laughed at him like, yeah, right, dude. You're going to fight twice a year again, too. You're going to fight 2 more times? How? He wanted to fight in the summer. And then he wants to fight at the end of the year somewhere around the Abu Dhabi card, something like that. That's what he said. He even said what he wanted to do. He said he wanted to rematch Alex Pereira and then fight Yuri Prochazka. Now, 317 has come out officially, and Ankalaev wanted to headline, was expecting to headline, but he didn't because he said, and I quote, both Alex Pereira and Yuri Prochazka turned down the fight offer to him. Now, I know why Pereira turned it down. Do I necessarily agree with Pereira? To an extent, yes. He feels like he needs more time. But brother, no matter the time, you're gonna lose. That's actually how I view it. Like, no matter how much time he would have had, he would have lost. Like, you could take a year to prep for him. You could take 2 months. You could take a week. I think you're gonna lose Ankalaev regardless. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Pereira's known for being a very saving cards and being very active. But he could do that against Khalil Roundtree's. It's harder to do that against Magomed Ankalaev, especially what Magomed just did to him. Kind of took away all his confidence. He probably needs some time to go and rebuild that. Now, Yuri Prochazka's excuse. No, I'm not gonna say excuse because some people are gonna try to agree with him. Like, it's cool. Yuri Prochazka, he's attending school. He has his final exams coming up. I'm not even laughing. All right, bro. Listen, MMA is not life. So Yuri Prochazka did deny it, and he said it has something to do with his school and his final exams and all that. And listen, bro, all power to him, bro. He can go study and, listen, I'm not judging. I'm not judging at all. But what I find annoying about this situation specifically is that Ankalaev just wants nothing more than being an active champ. And as fans, we want active champs. If we got to see 3 light heavyweight fights this year, we would have been ecstatic. Pereira was a very active champ, so I'm going to give him credit. 2024, other than Taporia, I think he was the best fighter of the year. I think he carried the year. He saved a lot of cards. He was being a hero. I just feel like that hero act is easy if, you could do it against people who just aren't your skill, or you believe is not your skill set. Now, Ankalaev wanted to fight these 2 to headline 317 and ended up falling through, which points to why, in my opinion, the Ilya Taporia fight and Charles fight had to be for undisputed belt for multiple reasons. But this is one of the reasons. They couldn't find official fight for the light heavyweights because Pereira didn't want to fight and Yuri didn't want to fight. And this also proves that Alex Pereira really sent that tweet that was, oh, I got hacked. Bro, they were going to go Yuri versus Ank or someone else versus Ank. Pereira heard about it through Rumble, so he went online, started making excuses like, if what I heard was true and this guy's actually going to book the fight with someone else, screw the UFC, I might as well retire. That was all true. That was all true. That all happened. This guy just denied it. So, yeah, dude, I got hacked. Fucking, yo, you buffoon. He's such a goofball sometimes. Truth of the matter is, Ankalaev just wants to be an active champion. Now, when you have a champion that wants to be active, but people around him don't want to fight, is like, how good do you have to be? All these guys feel like they need some absurd time to prep for Ink, which I guess makes sense. But Ink as champion, isn't it a little bit weird that no one wants to fight the champion? In every other weight class, I swear they're calling out for the champion. Everyone wants a title fight. And welterweight, every single welterweight contender is just begging for the title shot. I don't see no one at light heavyweight begging for a light heavyweight title shot. When Pereira was champ, Jamal Hill was really confident. All these guys were really confident, really wanted the title shot, all calling out Pereira because stylistic mismatches. But I don't see anyone chopping at the bit. I remember DDP wanted to go up to light heavyweight fight Alex Pereira. Haven't seen him make a peep about, Ankalaev if he potentially beats Hamzat. Ankalaev might just be the most feared active champion in the UFC, because especially in the UFC where all these contenders nowadays is just they're so blindsided and just tunnel visioning towards the title. There's no light heavyweight who's jumping at the bit to fight Ankalaev. I guarantee if this was Alex Pereira and he wants to fight at 317, anyone would step up, from a fucking Jamal Hill. They'll have the most random people with no hairline step up. Uberg, Jan Blachowicz, I don't know, Yuri again. These guys will step up. I just feel as if they don't want to step up because they feel like Ankalaev's too big of a threat, which just goes to show how good and scary Ankalaev is. But on the other hand, I'm also frustrated and I'm annoyed because I'm like, why why are we even doing this? Like, why is everyone just scared to fight Ankalaev to the point where it's going to affect Ankalaev's activity? Now, I'm assuming Ankalaev's only going to fight twice this year now. So we went from about to have 3 fights this year to only fighting twice, unless like he could fight, maybe the August card, maybe put him in 319 as well with the Hamza card. That'd be fire, But Pereira's, the way Pereira's point of view looks is like he wants to fight towards the end of the year. Looks like he needs a little bit more time mentally to get himself prepared. As far as Yuri goes, like the whole like he just has to do final exams. Like I don't really know what it takes. Like listen, I have literally a final exam today, bro, and I got to do that 7:30 to 9. I'm gonna take my final exam, so I understand, dude. I'm a college student as well, It's just more of. I guess from a UFC fighter, well, like I'm not a professional. If I'm a professional in anything, chat, I think my profession would come before school. But that's just my opinion. Everyone has different opinions and different takes on that. But if Yuri really wants to focus on his final exams, go do that. Go be that. That's you, man. But I just feel as if it was anyone else who was champion, if it was Pereira, anyone who he thinks is beatable, I think he'd hop on the opportunity to fight for the belt. Who would not hop on the opportunity to fight for a belt? Turning down Ankalaev just seems like. It just seems like they're fearful of this guy, or they feel like they need some kind of absurd training camp in preparation so they can have a competitive fight with him. But that's kind of stupid. Now, if you look at the rest of the light heavyweight division, it's kind of like it's in a weird position. But they do have Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree that they got rescheduled. I'm assuming the winner of that fight is going to want a title shot. But by the time they're going to want a title shot, I guarantee Pereira's going to be like back in the picture, like, all right, let me run it back with Ankalaev now. Now I'm ready to run it back with Ankalaev. That's what I expect to happen, something like that. But this situation is just frustrating if this is only if you're an Ankalaev fan. I'm sure Pereira fans are happy because, oh yeah, now they're not going to get the Yuri fight. They're not going to fight anyone else. They're going to have to wait for us. But it makes the UFC look bad, one, because the UFC's not making the fighter. I think it's wrong for the UFC to make fighters fight, but I swear, when Aljo didn't want to fight Sugar, he wanted some time off. As champion, they forced the champion to fight. So why are you not forcing these contenders to fight? And why are these contenders at light heavyweight not trying to force themselves to even get the fight with Ankalaev? I actually want to take a look at the light heavyweight division, guys. So Alex Pereira doesn't want to fight him because, like I said, he feels as if he needs more time, which I don't think, like I said, the excuse is a little bit poor. But is it the real good excuse, brother? Probably not. Yuri Prochazka, who's literally the next guy up, says, I want to focus on school. Like, is it a justified excuse? I get, if you're a studious guy, brother, studious, focus on work, maybe. Carlos Ulberg, coming off a win, doesn't seem like he wants to. I have not seen Carlos Ulberg call him out. Why is this the only champion in UFC not being called out, chat? Drickus is being called out by a mob of all these guys. JDM's being called out by the whole world, lightweights, welterweights, everyone. It's a matchup being called out by Taporia, all these guys. We could go up. Alexander Volkanovski, Movsar's begging for the fight, calling him out. Marab's getting called out by Umar, Jan, O'Malley's getting the fight for some reason. Pantoja being called out by everyone. Dude, every single champion's being called out. Then you look at the light heavyweight division, you look at everyone in this roster, not a single soul is calling him out. Obviously, Rakic can't call him out because he already lost. Blachowicz coming off of L. Only people who are eligible to call him out, in my opinion, right now, is Carlos Ulberg 1, and then Yuri Prochazka 2, and Alex Pereira 3. But these guys don't want to call him out. They look like they don't want the fight. Like, something about the fight is just not, maybe they think they need more time, it's not intriguing to them, but it makes me realize one and two things. One, no one believes they could beat Ankalaev without like in a crazy amount of time, and two, this is the most feared champion in the UFC today. You can't point to one champion that's not being called out by their peers except for Ankalaev. I don't see anyone chopping at the bit for Ankalaev fight. And Alex Pereira's like little privilege thing, talking about like he needs more time and like he's still trying to call the shots, but he's not champion. That's kind of getting me a little mad because I'm like, why are you even trying to come in here and be like, yeah, I'm going to decide when I want to fight Ank? Brother, we're not on your schedule. I know UFC a little bit stupid. Like, they act like they're WWE, so they're going to appeal to the popular fighter. But this is just the dumbest thing I ever seen. To a point where I literally had to make this video to let you guys know, like, the state of this division. Like, even, like, heavyweight. Okay, the state of heavyweight might be worse because Jones is ducking. But ducking champions is one thing. What kind of thing is ducking contenders? Are we just never going to get Ankalaev fights? What the hell, man? We're just never going to get an Ankalaev fight because everyone just wants to avoid him. Stupid excuse of a division. Pereira needs to stop being a girl, in my opinion, and just fight him. I think Pereira's waiting for like an epiphany moment, like while he's doing all these drugs. And like, I heard he was doing a lot of drugs in his homeland, Brazil, like psychedelics and stuff to get his brain right. Instead of doing all that, I feel as if Pereira should just kind of focus on training. You know, he's kind of taking the Yuri Prochazka route with, like, let me go, like, 5 with nature, get my mind right. You know, and I think Yuri should, like, maybe drop out of school or, like, wait to graduate a little bit later. Listen, this guy, you know, he's a smart guy, but, you know, maybe school not as important as your UFC career. This is my hot take. Carlos Ulberg, I'm surprised he's so high in the ranks, but I wouldn't mind a Carlos Ulberg just calling him out or making some tweets. Like, some of these Aussies, man, they have, like, no charisma and they have, like, no call-out ability. It's kind of cringe to me. So I don't know what the light heavyweight division is doing, but all I know is that they're blatantly making the champion not be able to fight because the contenders are avoiding them. So they need to fix that up. I just can't get behind this whole Ankalaev is getting avoided because people are scared of him. It makes no sense to me. But let me know what you guys think about the light heavyweight division, what they should do down below. That's it for me, and God bless. 2, 3.